guys, welcome to a Fox and Moon Tarot review. I am reviewing the lovely Neon Moon Tarot deck by Occult, and I'm really excited about this tarot deck because it's so different from what I'm used to seeing, and it's got some really amazing interpretations and artwork. So let's dive in. First of all, I just want to say that I love that the artist actually thought a lot about the presentation and the experience of what it would be like to actually get this deck when you first open it. So as you can see, you've got a lovely silver tin box, and it's got the logo of the actual artwork on the top, and on the back, if you flip it over, it's got a sticker of a little blurb of what the actual deck is about and a couple of the images of the cards, which is just lovely. I think it's so nice to actually have something where the artist has thought about what it's like to open the actual tarot deck itself when it first arrives. So let's open and have a look. Now, I have used this before, so it hasn't come out with all the plastic on it. So it did actually originally have plastic around the cards, but it does have the notebook on the top. So this actually has been used. The actual interpretations are a little bit different from what you're used to seeing in other tarot decks. So the suits are named a little bit differently, and you've got all of the major arcana are exactly the same, but the actual suits themselves are a little bit different. So you've got the wands, which are actually wires. This is the way that the artist has interpreted it. And then you've got the vials, which are actually cups. And then you've got the suit of arms, which is actually the suit of swords. And finally, you've got the suit of Zent, which is actually the suit of pentacles. And you've got, what's really interesting is that the artist has actually used different names for the court cards as well. So you do have to get used to that, but it is nice that the artist has actually reinterpreted a lot of the court cards, and I think it's just really different, and it allows you to sort of go to different places because it's so different, which I really like. So for example, the Queen of Pentacles is supervisor of Zent, and the Knight of Pentacles will be the agent of Zent, and the King of Pentacles is the executive of Zent. So you do have to kind of get used to it, but I think it's really lovely that it's so different from what I'm used to seeing, and it just gives so much more room for different interpretations. So I really like the interpretations in the actual book itself. I think they're really interesting. So for example, you've got the Page of Swords, which is actually the Apprentice of Arms, which is energetic, curiosity, restless action. I know what to do. I know how to do it. Just let me do it already. And inverted keywords, if it's reversed, it's got inaction, haste, lack of follow through. I asked them to let me do my own thing, and now that I'm in the spotlight, I don't know what to do. So it's kind of conversational. There's a little bit of a story there. So it's really cool that the artist has actually given some thought to the storyline, and it's really interesting. So I'm just going to give a quick flick through of the actual cards themselves. It is very glossy, so I think when I first got this, I was a little bit hesitant because I wasn't sure whether I would like the appeal of a glossy deck. So they are quite smooth, but I have gotten used to it, and it's actually surprisingly easy to shuffle these cards if you're not great at shuffling, and I am terrible at shuffling. So I'll just give a quick, see, I'm just dreadful at shuffling, but they shuffle really easily. It's very smooth, and it is very glossy. It will be a little bit reflective when you start using them, but it actually adds to the aesthetic of the cards, I think. So here we've got, I'll just flick through a few of the cards so that you can have a look. Seven of Wires, and it's got a really cool sort of apocalyptic, sort of dark feel to them, which I really love. That's the Tower. We've got the Fall. The Two of Zent. Three of Vials. Ten of Arms. So what I would say is, if you're really into the storytelling vibe and if it really sort of vibes with you on that level, this is definitely a deck that I would recommend. It also is great if you're, I would personally say it's really great if you're starting, because it actually opens your mind up to different interpretations and meanings. I think a lot of people would probably say differently, but I actually think it's great to have your own interpretations and then go to more traditional decks. But a lot of people will say differently, of course. Justice. I just love the neon noir sort of influences in the artwork as well. They're really beautiful. And I love the freedom of being able to go through this deck and have my own meanings instead of having the traditional meanings so heavily weighted on the cards for this tarot deck. Some of them are a little bit more graphic, so I think if you're okay with that, then that should be fine, but not everyone will enjoy that aspect of this tarot deck. It's not terribly graphic, but some of them are a little bit more intense than what I guess most people are used to seeing. And you've got the Supervisor of Zent here. Apprentice of Wires. Apprentice of Zent. So I'm going to do a reading for the collective. I'm just going to give these cards a really quick shuffle. Not the best person at shuffling, I'll be really honest, as you can see, but these cards make it really easy. It's very smooth, as you can see. Just for whenever it is ready, I will stop. And I will push it into 3 piles. Emperor, 4 of Wires or 4 of Wands, and the 3 of Wands. So it's really interesting that all of these are ruled by fire astrologically, and with what's going on at the moment, it sort of makes sense with everything in the world happening. You can sort of see where this really comes into place. And I've just put in there the Supervisor of Arms, which is actually the Queen of Swords. So what's really interesting is that with all of these cards, there's so much fiery energy, there's so much collective energy, and it's really about standing up for what you believe in and having a stance in where it is that you are, and really celebrating your own diversity and breaking through to the general collective, understanding yourself and having a voice and being proud of where it is that you are and where it is that you're standing in your life. So I understand for a lot of people that can be quite scary. It can even be something that is not encouraged, whether it's standing in your own truth, in your own family, in your own collective, whatever it is that that means for you. It's actually about looking out, being real with where you are, who you are, and still feeling connected to everything around you, and having a voice and being proud of it, but also having the intelligence to allow these things to guide you and to shine a light on the general collective of what it means to be human. And also there's a sense of, I guess, collective surveillance. It's almost like, what is it that we're doing now as a society? What is it that we're doing now as people when we're watching out on others? Are we watching on ourselves? And it's about having that consciousness of knowing where it is that we stand in the world, how real we are with each other, how real we are with ourselves. You know, how honest can we be with ourselves? Are we being really honest when we look at each other and when we look at ourselves in our own image? Are we being our true, most authentic selves? I'm just going to look at the shadow card. For anybody who looks at this reading, this will apply to you, and that's kind of where I'm going with this. 8 of Wands, another card that is ruled by fire traditionally, except for the Queen of Swords, which is more ruled by air, depending on which school of thought you run by. But the 8 of Wands, 8 of Wires, it's really about pushing that energy out and energy just being dispersed and really being accountable for what it is that you are as a person. So a lot of truth is coming out right now, and it can be painful. It can be painful for a lot of people when they see this. So I can totally understand where you're coming from. It's a lot of different messaging coming out there and going out there, so it can be quite dark. But fire is also about igniting a passion and a joy within ourselves, even in the darkest of times. So there is definitely a message of hope. So I hope that this message receives you well, wherever it is you are in the world. It can be a little bit dark, I can totally understand that, but I think this message is one of being our own inner rebel. And when I say rebel, I mean being accountable for our own actions and being responsible for who we are on a really deep level, watching ourselves and not just listening to the crowd. So I hope that was of some use to you today, guys. If you liked what you saw today, please click on the little bell to press like or press subscribe if you'd like to subscribe for more of these lovely videos. I really enjoyed this and I hope you did too. See you later. Bye.